Hi, everyone. I'm Stephen Michael Smith, and I want to welcome you to our Facebook Live event for Music and Performing Arts at Shelter Rock. And on Friday nights, we get together and look at some clips, listen to some clips, and talk to some of the artists who have presented their works at Shelter Rock and look behind the scenes a little bit. And I am thrilled tonight that we have Leah Wool joining us. Hi, Leah.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. It's so nice to be with you.
So, folks, we just spent an hour in kind of cyber hell trying to get things together. Poor Leah changed rooms. We were trying to get Ethernet cords together. So it just kind of is always hysterical to me that we just sort of come in and we're all so calm and we're also together. And it's like this craziness coming on in.
Right.
So anyway, I realized when I was putting this together that I never auditioned you.
No.
You came in as a sub for Blythe. I remember she called me kind of last minute and said, I can't do something or other. And I have Leah Wool, and she's fabulous. And just trust me. Just trust me. It'll be okay. She's great. Just trust me. And obviously, I trust Blythe. She's an extraordinary. She's only sent me really extraordinary singers. But what a gift that she sent us you. So in doing a little research, because I actually had to do some research, I didn't know that you were Grammy nominated. Tell us about this.
Oh, that was so exciting. So a few years ago, I sang the role of Minerva in Monteverdi's Il ritorno d'Ulisse in Patria. And we performed the piece live in Boston, and then we immediately recorded it for Lynn Records. And it was really exciting. The role of Minerva was really, really fun because whenever she was on stage, everything she did was really fiery, and she had a lot of wonderful coloratura moments. It was awesome. So we immediately recorded it, and then it seems like forever goes by until you actually get the recording and hear it. And then we found out we were Grammy nominated. So,
that's so great.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Wow. And is it true that when you met Josh, he said, so you're an opera singer? What's up with that? Is that true?
Word for
Did you just make that up?
No. Word for word, exactly what he said. And in our little New York Times, meet cute story that they like to do, that quote was in there because it came straight from his New York heart. And it was exactly what he said. It was great. How
did you meet?
We were set up on a blind date by a mutual friend. And we met on the Upper West Side. We were living in the city, and we met for a drink, and kind of the rest was history.
So that's all he really knew about you, that you were an opera singer? Probably.
Yeah, and he had seen my picture. He's like, okay, she's cute. We can go out.
So since I've never auditioned you, can you give me a thumbnail in front of everyone? Tell me your background. Were you a musical kid? Did you want to be a ballerina? Did you want to be a firefighter? Or did you start studying music early on? And
I was a very shy kid when I was in elementary school. I had no idea that I had singing ability probably until 5th or 6th grade. I had a teacher who sort of picked me out and heard me sort of singing on because I was always in the chorus and in those groups because I loved music. But I was very shy. I was sort of kept to myself. And she sort of picked out my voice and said, wait, I want to hear you sing by yourself, and sort of, said, come here and sing. And as soon as I realized that I had talent, and it was I just couldn't get enough. I wanted to keep singing all the time. So at first I was really like a theater kid. I did all the shows at school. I went to theater camp at USDAN, which is here.
Where was that? Where did you grow up? Where did all this?
I grew up in Hewlett, in Nassau County, South Shore of Long Island.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did. So anyway, went to theater camp, was in all the shows through high school, and I always knew I wanted to sing, but I didn't really fall in love with opera until college. And that was because I went to the Spoleto Festival in Charleston with Westminster Choir, and we were the opera chorus for the shows there, and I was just overwhelmed by how amazing everything was, and that was it. I fell in love. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So I saw your resume for the first time, and I just thought I'm gonna just say some things here. I'm just gonna shout out some of her background because it's really pretty extraordinary. For symphonic work, she's sung with the Jacksonville Symphony, the Indianapolis Symphony, Defiant Requiem Foundation, San Francisco Symphony, Charlotte Symphony, Nashville Symphony, Phoenix Symphony, Boston Baroque, opera. I'll just say, the Metropolitan Opera, New York City Opera, Glimmerglass, Central City, Santa Fe, Spoleto, as she said, Toledo, Gotham, Little Orchestra Society, Kentucky Opera, Opera Theater of St. Louis, Newton Symphony, Utah Opera. Am I leaving any out? And then on stage with the San Francisco Symphony, she sung at Avery Fisher Hall, New Jersey Symphony, New Haven Symphony, Manchester Symphony, Kansas City Symphony, Milwaukee Symphony, Rochester Chamber Orchestra. This girl's been around. This is really, it's so impressive. I mean, it really is wonderful. Was there a certain point where your career took off? Can you pinpoint when you started to be known or seen or heard? Or?
That's a good question. I think a lot of it was a combination of being in a really good graduate program for opera. I was at Yale.
Yeah.
At Yale for grad school, and it's a really small program. And Doris Cross, who is just retiring this year, I can't believe it. But she really worked very hard to bring in a lot of people that were influential in the industry, managers, just people who were at opera companies as part of the artistic staff or administrative staff. And so while I was still in school, I was heard by a lot of people who could help me later on. And that absolutely was the case. So I started off doing some young artist programs, some really good ones, Santa Fe, St. Louis. And those programs also put you in front of all of those companies, all of those people. So I was really fortunate. I did the young artist circuit for a while, and then Central City Opera very early on cast me as Erica in Vanessa. And it was just an incredible opportunity. That opera is not done very often. That role is just a dream role. And I did that early on. And then, it was really just sort of an upward trajectory. I was very, very fortunate.
Well, I think talent has something to do with it. And I think the extraordinary sound of your voice, which is a unique sound, I think it's a voice that has such color and character and depth. It's just, I love the fact that I get to hear it as much as I do. And I say this to you other she just has this extraordinary instrument. So I actually think we should let people hear you a little bit. We're going to start with something from Ellington Sacred Service, right?
Yes.
And it's The Beauty of God. Bruce Torff is on the piano, I believe. And let's take a listen.
The beauty of God is indescribable. The power of God is unattainable. The sight of God is unimaginable, and we should know that the light of God is truth and does not a shadow throw.
And we're back. That's really so lovely. We had a little glitch there. We weren't supposed to go into the wonder of God, but I guess we just did.
Yeah.
Have you sung a lot of Ellington? Have you sung a lot of jazz?
No, I haven't, and I love jazz so much. and I haven't, but I just adore it. That was a real treat.
Do you listen to jazz, or is it part of your life, or do you?
I think I really love a lot of different genres of music. One of the things I love about Shelter Rock is that we've been able to, you can bring in a solo from pretty much any genre and do it. So it's really been fun to bring in a music theater piece or even a pop piece. So I love pop music. I love jazz. So even though I haven't gotten to do it a lot, I think about it a lot.
Uh-huh.
I think, and I sing it to myself, just sort of when I'm home. So I think it's just sort of in my brain maybe already.
Was it different singing Ellington and singing with a microphone in that style with Sacred Service? Did that take you any different places? Was it just different? And I guess what I'm asking is, for classical singers who used to voice production, right. Then to be with a microphone, how did that change the way you sang, or did it bring out different parts of your voice, do you think? Or
I think you can. It's sort of freeing in a way because you're not thinking about projecting to a big hall. You can do things that are a little more playful and maybe even a little bit more nuanced because the microphone will pick everything up. So you can sort of play with a little more effect and affect, if that makes sense, and try different things. That maybe you wouldn't do if you were singing in an acoustic hall in an acoustic way.
Mm-hmm. You seem to be enjoying, it's such a lovely sound, but I also sense that you were totally lost in that sound.
Oh, that was so much fun. Mm-hmm. That was so much fun. I loved everything about that Ellington. That was just a great experience overall.
I agree. It was pretty wonderful to do it. Now, you have 2 kids who just graduated, right? From kindergarten, I should add, right?
Right. I do. I have twins, a boy and a girl, who just finished kindergarten. I can't believe they're off to first grade. It's unbelievable. But yeah, they're fun.
What's it like during this time of Black Lives Matter? And are they aware that things are unsettled? Are they aware of what's happening politically? They're young. How old are you when you're in kindergarten? I don't know.
They're 5.5.
Oh, so how much are they aware of the world around them?
It's hard to say. I think, I'm a really avid, we live in a very newsy household. My husband works at a news organization, and I am like an NPR listener. You and I have bonded over our love of NPR and anyway. But I try to
Michael Barbaro,
which I try to shield them somewhat because I think a lot of it is adult. We just try to teach in our home. Just generally teach them being kind to others, treating people fairly. We try to teach those values in our home and hope that those are what sink in, and try to shield them somewhat from all, the real ugliness that's out there right now. It's really hard though. We're fortunate in that our district is wonderfully supportive and wonderfully diverse. So from a young age, they're being exposed to people and from all walks of life. And I think that's wonderful. So hopefully that will also serve them. So
that's great. And you live in Huntington, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, my Symphonic Pops Orchestra, we do something with the Huntington High School, and it's a very strong music program in that community. And I just realized we don't have our chat thing up. I'm talking to the Technic guy because there may be some people who are on from Huntington, but I don't know that. But anyway, I've always been very impressed how engaged they are in music in that community, and I hope that continues. How about with COVID and the health issues now? Are they aware of that as well?
They're very aware of COVID. They're very aware of the coronavirus, which is what they call it. And they are aware that, we're keeping our distance from people. We're wearing masks. On the rare occasion that I take them anywhere in public these days, they're wearing masks, and they've been really good about that. And they, it's hard though, because they miss their friends, and, they haven't been in school since mid-March, and now the school year's over. They miss their friends very much, but I think they understand that we all just are trying to stay healthy and safe.
I would think as a 5-year-old, that's kind of hard because who knows what their real concept of the world is. And
right.
these are formative times,
Right.
and so it must be confusing at best in some ways. How do you feel now that we're going through the different stages? Are you comfortable taking the next step and going out as we seem to be opening up things, or are you more hesitant and holding back?
I think we're still kind of laying low in a lot of ways. Some friends are starting to see each other socially, go to restaurants, have their children play together. And, we're still kind of on the wait and see side of that. I think, we'd like to see how things go as things open up more, and just sort of, we're more cautious. We're definitely lean on the cautious side.
I seem to find that's the case. I'm feeling that way. And it seems like my friends and people I talk to are also feeling that I think we've all had kind of a shock that this, and also watching what's happening in the other parts of the country makes you really wonder where we are in this trajectory. And it's a little scary. But we'll just hang in there, I guess. Let's go to music. The next clip is Ellen Menken from Weird Romance, Stop and See Me. And I think how this came about, and correct me if I'm wrong, in 2017, Ned White, who was our minister then, was doing a program on cultivating empathy.
Right.
And did I give you this song?
You did.
Well, if it came from me, it came from Bill, my husband, because Bill Bill is great, and he knows all the shows. And he's my secret weapon, and he really is, because I will give him these most crazy off-topic things, and he'll say, oh, or he'll actually go to the piano and go into his extensive library. I think he has just about everything, and pull these out. And this is also a song that I didn't know, but it's such an extraordinary piece. Neither you nor I really know that much about Weird Romance. I only know weird things about it, so I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
Unless you want to go there.
No, we're good.
Right. But the song itself is pretty extraordinary, and it's called Stop and See Me. I think we'll listen to it.
Might stop and see
That's so lovely. This was an archival recording that we had, and the quality of the recording wasn't great, but I thought it was such an extraordinary moment that you created in that song that I just felt I wanted to go back and revisit that. And I know for a fact that several people who were there when you did that have remembered it, like Karen, was interested in that song. It really created such an extraordinary impression.
Oh, thank you.
It's just great. So another piece that we were going to listen to was Migratory V, which was written by Adam Guttel. Do you know that he was Richard Rodgers' grandson?
Yes, I did know that.
Very cool. Folks, if you don't know who that is, he wrote Light in the Piazza and written some very wonderful, interesting things. I was actually going to read the text for this. Shall I do that?
Oh, sure.
Because I think it's so interesting. I think it's so wonderful. And maybe you want to talk about it. We sail above the weather. We search the ocean floor. We rival our creation, still yearning for more, but can we fly together? A migratory V. Interesting question for the times we live in, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And I'm jumping around here a little bit. A single voice in whispered prayer can only pray to travel there, but all is one. We sound the everlasting sound. We sing our salvation aloft in formation of a migratory V. In this time of Black Lives Matter and just in such upheaval in the world, thank God that we have the arts to center us and to give us hope and to lead us forward. I did notice this week that some major arts organizations are actually closing for longer than I thought they might. For instance, Nashville, is closing for a year.
Yeah, I did. I saw that.
And I also got a couple notices of some artist managers who are discontinuing. I don't know if you've heard about that as well. I won't say who they are, but there were a couple postings about that. So each one of these times, I don't want to go to a dark place with all this wonderful music, but I just like to remind everyone that this is such a hard time for artists and musicians, and it's hard for everyone, without a doubt. It's hard for hospital workers. Oh my God, it's hard for everyone. But there's the added uncertainty for performing artists. We just don't know when we'll come back and in what form we'll come back. And for people who dedicated their lives to opera and symphonic work and people who sing in choruses and love choruses, it's a difficult time not to really see how we'll all be together unless a vaccine comes along. But it does give us the opportunity to explore other types of music and do things like this. And one of the pluses I have to say for me was in starting this little series on Friday nights, I've been able to really get to know the people that I work with in a much more intimate way. And also that's allowed, I think, people who love and appreciate the work that people do to get to know them as well and to kind of understand the life of the performing artists. Have there been any surprises in your life in terms of a performing artist? Things that you didn't anticipate? That were there situations where when you started singing, it was like, oh, well, I didn't know this was what my life was going to be. I mean, were you prepared for the travel? Were there any surprises?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know that I really was prepared for the travel. I mean, of course, that you're going to be on the road quite a bit. But I mean, I found my experience, and this maybe isn't everyone's experience, but the longer I did it, the more it got harder to keep picking up and packing that suitcase and getting on the plane. And certainly when I got married and married someone I really love, I really enjoy being with, I happen to enjoy and like my husband. So, after I was married, it was harder. And I remember there was one particular stretch where I was on the road for about 10 straight weeks. And it was really tough. And I love being home, and especially now as a mom with young children. I mean, I really do love to be home. It definitely makes you reorder your priorities. So I guess it's not so much surprising as sort of an evolution, but yeah, I mean, I knew that travel would be hard, but I don't think I knew how hard it would be. And I really admire and respect. I have so many friends and colleagues who continue to do it and bring their kids with them, homeschool their kids, and there are lots of different ways to do it. But for me, I really it became clear to me quickly what was important for me.
It's extraordinary to me. I can't imagine people balancing family and career and everything else. I take my hat off to you. I realized I read Migratory V, but we never listened to it. But we sort of segued back there because you were talking about travel. And now we're going to go back to the Migratory V and go into the sky, and we'll listen to the clip. We were just talking over the video, behind the video, saying how much we just both really love that song. And we were trying to piece together, Leah, I think Leah did bring that to us. And in the meantime, even though we don't have the chat up, I was able to see the chat on my phone. So I just wanted to shout out to my husband, Bill. You're not supposed to be saying hi to people. You're supposed to be listening. But No, but it was very interesting. You mentioned Floyd Collins, and that's a show I don't know, but Leah was saying it's a show that you do know. Yeah.
A little bit. I remember hearing it years ago and thinking it was really wonderful.
It's great. I should explore it.
Definitely.
Janet Bentowitz is just saying thanks and love to our alto guide and muse.
Oh, hi, Janet.
That's your fan club. I don't know if she's here or if she's in England. Maybe she'll tell us, because she has a place in Cornwall in England. So
across the pond.
Across the pond. Yeah. So what's on the board for you? What's the rest of your summer? You're with your in-laws now, right? Are you on the island? Or?
Oh, my in-laws live very far away from me, all the way down the street. So
are you staying with them? Did you?
No, but because I do have 2 kindergartners, rather almost first graders in my home, I thought it best for sound quality of our conversation if I maybe go elsewhere.
I was going to ask how you were going to accomplish that, actually. So a shout out to your in-laws. That's really great. So I didn't realize that you were a Long Island girl originally. That you grew up.
Born and raised. Yep.
Well, it is wonderful because the island has such a rich music scene, and as you were saying with Huntington and other things, it's really kind of extraordinary how much music there is on the island.
There is quite a bit, and I was lucky. I grew up in an amazing district, the Hewlett-Woodmere School District, and had the best teachers. Eric Williams, hello, the best teachers ever who encouraged and shepherded me on. So I was really fortunate.
I'd like to think that music teachers realize how instrumental they are in people's lives. I don't know if they know that, because when it's happening, I'm not sure we tell them. I certainly my teachers in high school and junior high and way upstate New York really saved my lives. And I was just thinking the other day how I now wish I could say thank you. But I think they're probably long gone. But they really, music teachers, all teachers change lives. But music teachers, for me, partly because I wasn't interested in sports. I was kind of an egghead, but music was such a wonderful place to live and to explore, and really got me out of the upstate New York community that I didn't really love being in. So it was also saved me in some ways. So we're fortunate this extraordinary art form that we have.
Absolutely.
Did you have things that were canceled that were upcoming, or do you have any sense of the future for you in terms of singing?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look great in the near future, because most of what I do now is concert. And like you were saying earlier, a lot of these symphony orchestras have had to close their doors at least through the fall or into early 2021. So I really don't expect much to happen next season at all. So just trying to make my peace with that and focus on how many things there are to be grateful for. But it's very.
Do you have other musical outlets, or is it okay to leave it for a while and just concentrate on your family? And
it's okay. It's okay. I think that becoming a mom, it definitely puts things into perspective. And my family's healthy. We have a roof over our heads. I mean, not to be corny, but those really are the things that matter. And my everybody's well. So for now, I'm just trying to focus on that. Focus on all of the good. Because it is really sad, and to see so many of my friends having just completely lost their livelihood for the foreseeable future, it's really tough.
Well, one reason I ask is because it's always interesting to me, now that we're doing everything on Zoom and FaceTime and everything, I check with people because a lot of people have gone home. And these are people in their 30s and 20s, 30s, and some people in their 40s. And I start talking to them, and I realize they're in a house with a big backyard. And
you live on the Upper West Side, right?
What's going on there? Did you move? And so some people have had to leave New York and make drastic changes to their lives. But we'll all keep flexible and move toward the future and see what it brings. Yeah. So we're going to move into a little opera. Oh, I see that Jamie Scott is listening in, and Jamie has a birthday on Tuesday, and he's the son of a very good friend of mine, and I'm thrilled that he's here tonight. And actually, I'm going to see him Tuesday night for his birthday, so I'm shouting out to Jamie.
Happy birthday.
Oh, that's great. That's great. He lives in Arizona. So do you want to tell us what we're going to hear?
We are going to hear one of my all-time favorite pieces. This is the finale of Rossini's La Cenerentola, and this is Non più mesta. We're only going to hear the sort of the second half of the piece, the fast part. But this is one of my all-time favorite composers, one of my all-time favorite pieces. The opera is just wonderful and delightful from start to finish.
What about it you love? What is it?
This piece just sparkles. It's Cinderella. It's Rossini's Cinderella story, for those who may not know. And the alternative title is, it's either called La Cenerentola or The Triumph of Goodness, La Trionfo di Bontà. I'm sorry, I probably just mangled the Italian on that. I apologize. But it is just delightful from the very start. He injects the score with so much light and wit and humor and pathos. And her kindness and goodness just shines through from the first minute she opens her mouth to sing. And the ending is just so thrilling. What's so beautiful about it is, her family has treated her so terribly from the beginning. And yet she forgives them and says, don't worry, I love you. And it's just such an amazing testament to the power of the human spirit, power of forgiveness. I just think it's wonderful.
Great. Let's listen.
Al fuoco staro solagor che giorno a fullampo sogno un gioco il mio lungo palpitar la gorgheggiar non a fullambo un sogno un gioco il mio lungo non più me staccando fuoco sarò sola gorgheggiar a fullambo sogno gioco il mio lungo palpitar a fullambo un sogno gioco a fullambo un sogno gioco il mio
Wow. Wow. I actually hadn't listened to it. I just started it, queued it up because I wanted to just listen to it live. That's just really wonderful. And I'm sitting here, even though, we're off camera, smiling like an idiot because I'm just saying, that's really wonderful. And Leah keeps saying, but it was so much fun. But it sounded so wonderful. And you use that energy and a few notes in the process, I have to say.
Just a few.
And you sure the excitement wasn't also just having to wear those beautiful gloves?
The gloves were good. I enjoyed the gloves.
And the crown is good.
Tiara, right, of course. Anytime you get a tiara is a good time.
And that was Nashville Opera. And thank you to the Nashville Opera who gave us that clip so that we could use that tonight. So we're very appreciative of that. I have to say, I went to Nashville, I guess it was 2 years ago. I had never been to Nashville. And I went for a conference of some sort. I think it was
I remember that.
Opera conference, wasn't it?
I think so.
Were you there?
I wasn't, but I remember you talking about going.
They did the most incredible Carmina. I mean, it was really extraordinary. And so I find that I was a little closed-minded thinking Nashville, it has such a different sort of musical tradition in most people's mind, but really it's a beautiful hall, and the production I saw was really very impressive and very good musicians. So again, thank you, Nashville Opera, for that clip. That was really great. Great. Well, we have to get through this COVID because you have to be singing.
Oh. That's
just the way it is. For the sake of the world, you have to be singing.
Oh, thank you.
Leah, you're wonderful. It's great to I'm glad you joined me tonight with this, and I know the people listening, I'm sure they appreciated it. And as I said, it's always such a joy to work with you, and you're such an the thing is, folks, she's an extraordinarily talented person, but she's just the sweetest, most wonderful person to work with. It's always a joy. And I'm sure everybody would say that because that's
Thank you. The feeling is mutual. Thank you. It's joy for me. So thank you.
Great. Anything else you want to say to your adoring public?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you everyone for watching and spending some time with us. And everybody should just stay safe and stay well and keep listening to music and supporting your favorite arts organizations if you can.
Great. Lovely to talk with you. Lovely to see you.
Bye.
Thank you for having us into your in-laws' home for tonight. And next week, I'm going to be talking with Dan Pratt, who leads our jazz ensemble and is an extraordinary musician. And I'm sure that'll be lots of fun, folks. So I hope you'll tune in next Friday and stay safe and have a great weekend. And thank you again, Leah Wool.
Oh, thank you.